Okay, part two. Sorry, my video got cut off. But it says EFT 295 dated the 30th of Jan 2024 made to DC suppliers for inventory. So we said that would have been recorded in the CBJ because we purchased inventory and it appeared correctly on the bank statement. Okay, so it means that the amount in the journal is wrong. The amount in it says the amount in the business records was incorrect. So they told you specifically that this amount was incorrect. Where will I get this amount from? I will get it from the bank recon. So I'm going to look for EFT 295. So when I go to EFT 295, I see that it's 17,805. Okay, now 17,805 is what was entered into my CPJ, which is wrong. The actual amount that I purchased the inventory for is 17,508. So I purchased for less, right? I didn't purchase for 800 specifically. I purchased for 500. So if I find the difference of that, I'll say 17,805 minus 17,508, and that's 297. So because I purchased for less, I purchased for 500 instead of 800, I cannot minus from the CPJ. But what am I going to do to cancel this difference of 297? I will enter in the opposite journal, and the opposite journal will be the CRJ. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my CRJ. I'm going to say, what EFT is this? This is EFT 295, but it says this appeared on the bank statement. So bank statement again on the 30th. So DC suppliers is who I bought goods from. How much was that? 297. 297. And what was this for? This was for inventory. Okay, then because I had read the question earlier, I know that this adjustment here will go to the bank recon, right? And now there's no other information, so I am done with my journals. Okay, but obviously you will read all of the information, process it, and then total. I am just doing it to save time. So now what am I going to do? Simply I am going to add all of these figures, and when I add all of these figures, I'll say 230, 150 plus 1 to 700 plus 6,000 plus 297, and I'm gonna get 249,147. Okay, and I will get an operation mark for just adding. So your marks will come from this column, this column, this column, right? Ideally not these, but these three columns, yes, definitely. Then I'm going to do the same for my CPJ. 197760 plus 4,500, 1848 plus 8,500, 5,600 is, I'm going to get 218,208. Okay, and then also operation mark here, and then marks throughout here. Going back to my question, so I did 1.3.1, 1.3.2. 1.4 says calculate the bank balance on the 29th of Feb 2024. State whether the balance is favorable or unfavorable. Now, with this part here, the easiest thing that you can do at this point is draw yourself a T account, right? Because the T account format does not change. So when I talk about T account, I talk about the bank T account, I talk about our business. Our business is RR Traders. And in our business, this bank, this T account here, the debit side is an asset and the credit side, I mean, bank will always be an asset, which means that the debit side increases and the credit side decreases. So immediately I say total receipts from the CRJ, I say total payments, okay, and I did my journals. Even if I know these answers are incorrect, I will transfer them because I want the operation mark, okay? I'm gonna say this was from the CPG 218208. Okay, something to take note of was that earlier when we did this extract and I said they give you most of the time, not all of the time, but most of the time, when they give you a bank reconciliation statement and they do not tell you what was this balance here at the beginning, whether it was a debit or credit, but they don't tell you, you use this information here from the previous bank recon, right, as the balance at the beginning. So it says unfavorable balance as per bank account. An unfavorable balance to me would mean a balance where the sign is negative. Where the sign is negative is the credit side. So I will say the balance at the beginning of February now brought down is 43,700. Now, why am I saying 43,700? Because this is the closing balance for January. So you should know at this point that the closing balance for 1 month would be the opening balance of the next month. And then operation mark here, you would have to get the sign right, or the debit or the credit right. And then the last part, all I'm going to do is balance this account. So when I balance, I know I find which side is bigger, 43,700 plus 208. So obviously the credit side is bigger. So both sides must equal to 261,908. So which side is smaller, which side is lacking? It's obviously this side here. I'm going to say balance, carry down, 261,908 minus 249,147, and I'm going to get 12,761. Now we don't take this balance, right, because this is us bringing down the balance here. Balance brought down for Feb 12,761. So the closing balance for Feb, I am saying, must be 12,761, and it has a credit balance. So I would say that this is unfavorable. Right, and then the last part we are going to do is the bank reconciliation statement 1.5. Okay, so I did this just a bit earlier And what I want to point out, or what I feel is very important that you should know, is that this format does not change. Yes, we have sometimes correction of error, or we debit a deposit that was maybe had a different amount, but the balance as per bank statement all the way to bank account, these four things do not change. So number one, what you need to know is that you go from the bank's perspective. Who is the bank? In this case, it's ABC, it's FNB, whoever, right? Then you're going to credit outstanding deposit. Now, the reason why I am saying learn it like this, it says credit outstanding deposit. So when you find the outstanding deposit, you don't have to guess which sign, you know, enter it on the credit side. When you find the outstanding EFT, you don't have to guess, you know which side it's on. And then we go to the balance as per bank account. Now I want a balance of 12,761. Okay, so let us do the last part. So I'm going to go to my information D. It says the following items appeared only in the cash journals and not on the bank statement for Feb 2024. A cash deposit of 30,450. This was cash takings for the week. So credit outstanding deposit, the deposit of 30,450. Then that's done. EFT number 320 for 25,700. This was made to the owner's personal bank account to cover his personal expenses. Now, do not get confused. Just because it's drawings does not mean that we have to enter it separately. It is still an EFT that needs to be accounted for. So we're going to say outstanding EFT number 320, 25,700. Notice that I didn't have to guess which side it's going on because I already know. Something important that I should have told you at the beginning is that the bank account and the bank recon has opposite signs. The bank T account is an asset to me, okay? But the bank reconciliation is actually the bank's point of view, all right? And the bank ABC considers us as a liability. So here is a minus. On the credit side, it decreases. Here, it will increase. On the debit side here, it increases. On the debit side here, it will decrease. If you remember this, you can remember that these signs must just be the opposite, okay? Or in fact that we are a liability to ABC or FNB. Liabilities increase on the credit side, decrease on the debit side. Okay. So the only other transaction to take into account is this one here. It says a deposit for 9,800 was wrongly appeared in the bank statement. Now, whenever something is wrong in the bank statement, you go to the bank recon to try and rectify that mistake. It says an investigation revealed that it was meant to be deposited into the account of RR stores. The bank will rectify this entry on the 1st of March. Okay. Now, very simply put, this is what I'm going to do. So I know firstly that the bank statement is wrong. I'm going to go to my bank recon. Secondly, it says it the 9,800 was meant to be deposited into the account of RR stores. The bank will rectify this entry, okay? So deposit is supposed to be recorded on the credit side. Deposit for 9,800 wrongly appeared in the bank statement. It was meant to be deposited into the account of RR Stores. The bank will rectify this.